Hello everyone, this is AlphaFeed episode 2. I'm your host Rai, and with me are my co-hosts Chad,
Guten Tag,
Tim,
Hola,
and Phil.
What's up, everybody?
On this episode we are talking about the game Indie Assault, which is being developed by Imagination Vent, based in San Diego, California. Now, Indie Assault is a platform fighting game. You basically pick a character and have to smash another player from the screen in order to win the game. The characters in this game are actually existing indie characters from other games. So this will remind you guys of other games.
There's one particular big one.
Yeah.
So Indie Assault is in early access on Steam at the moment and currently in the alpha stage. So to get to know the game status a bit better, I'm just gonna go through a few things that are decided, what the developer is planning to do, or maybe even scrapped from the game. So some of the things are the amount of characters at the launch of the game, the multiple game modes of competitive and casual play. There are also diverse stages, which are originated from each character's universe. Now they've also planned a few things, like adding more primary characters, and with those also new stages will be added. They were also thinking about pickups, such as weapons and items. And another thing they are planning to do is to expand the game to create an arcade mode and even a stage builder. But also a few things were scrapped, such as a bionic team, interactive 3D menus, even a story mode, and multiple platforms. So guys, now that we know a bit more about the game's status, we already know what kind of game this is and its concept. So, if you would hear the concept in just words, without having seen any images or footage, how do you guys feel about this concept?
So let's just get it right out there. This is Super Smash Brothers with indie characters. It's without a doubt a Smash Brothers clone. I like the idea of the game. I'm a huge Smash Brothers fan. I do like the fact that they're getting these indie characters out there. I would like to know more about the characters and more about the games that they come from. And in fact, that's one of my main suggestions for this game. If they could somehow add in some story elements and link to information on the games, that would, I think, go a long way toward making me actually care about these characters and have a little bit better idea of what they're all about. Because kind of being thrown in with a bunch of characters that you know are from other universes, that you know have backgrounds, that you know have certain abilities and powers, and really not knowing anything about them.
How do you guys think about it? If you just would hear this concept, like, for example, somebody would just give you this idea, how would you feel about that?
Well, from a game development standpoint, this is one of those kind of blindingly obvious things that everyone talks about, but no one really tries. And the reason that no one really tries to do it is probably for the same reason that these developers have had some problems, is that not all the indie developers are willing to play ball. And it's hard to get all the big characters, especially for indie games. But as far as, the concept goes, it is kind of one of those fantasy dream concepts that everyone wants to do, and it sounds amazing. It's just, if the politics of making it happen is just ridiculous.
I completely agree. Like Chad said, the concept's been done before, but it's not a bad concept at all. Super Smash Brothers was pretty successful about it, and I liked PlayStation All-Stars as well. But there again, you have a game that's already been done for the PlayStation, and it was done really well with well-known characters. And this game, I'm not too sure the games that these characters have come from. much like Chad, and I would like to know more about the games that they came from. And I kind of wish they would add a little bit of that in there.
We actually also took a look to other topics such as character design, and there are 4 characters available at the moment, and probably will be when the game will be released. And I was actually wondering if any of you know these characters, or
I don't
either.
Yeah.
I don't either. So
Yeah. When I started it up, I was like, this is what their audience is probably expecting, is going to jump in and be like, oh, sweet, I'm going to play Super Meat Boy or something. And then you jump in, it's like, okay, I have no idea who any of these people are. There's this Sonic kind of guy who's actually, I reckon, the best character. And then like a Samus-looking type of person that isn't actually Samus. It's like, I have no idea what this person is either. And then it's like when one other person it looks like is from Mortal Kombat, and another person is from like Odyssey. And then it's just like, but yeah, we don't actually know any of them or the games that they're from. I know that looking at the notes that they actually hope and to have tried to get characters like Super Meat Boy and Red from Transistor, which would be awesome and instantly recognizable. But at the current state, these characters are like so obscure and like indie games that aren't very big, I suppose, and we just don't know.
yes, it is indeed. They kind of have like a two-sided thing. Like, okay, we do have indie game characters, but they are not that known. But those who are known, they kind of want to wait and see how the game will do.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. And I mean, you can understand the perspective of the other developers too, because they're basically saying, we spent all this time developing these characters, our games were successful, it took us a lot of hard work to get to that point, and then these people want to just grab that character and kind of ride off of our success, which, you know, that's probably one thing that they're thinking, you know, with being really cautious and letting...
I feel as if like the even bigger problem is just like, I'm pretty sure these guys are a first-time developer, right? Have they released anything else? Yeah, like there's no way in a million years they're gonna just license out their character to a first-time developer until they've seen that they're proven, and that's what they have to wait for, I suppose.
So every character had to be remodeled as well, so they didn't get any assets from the developers. And pretty much every character is remodeled from scratch. And this is done by art director Michael King and 3D character artist Dennis Capati. I hope I'm saying his last name correct. But they created the characters in either Autodesk Maya or ZBrush. So here's another topic to talk about. What do you guys think about the 3D models? Because there are also, of course, characters that come from a 2D game and then they had to remodel it. How do you guys think about the models so far?
I don't think the models are too bad, especially if they've had to remodel them from scratch. I mean, some of them look a little choppy, but then again, that could be my computer.
yeah. I find like the models were good enough. Like they're not a AAA developer or anything. They're not going to have like great looking models, and even though it's on PC and they could afford to make it look a lot better, it's also on the Vita and stuff, right? So it can't be like souped up. But I think the models are fine. The animations are a bigger problem, but the models in general are fine.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks to me like Titus is a lot more detailed than any of the other characters.
I agree.
Let's take a closer look to the abilities of each character. Like, they have their own special move, and some of the abilities they had to come up with because they were not officially in their own games. But do you guys think they have been creative enough with it?
I tend to think so. I like the fact that they all have a kind of super move. Like, they're all ridiculously overpowered, but it kind of helps the game's fun. But they all the game has the same formula as Super Smash Brothers and stuff like that. Like you have those smash attacks where you hold down the button and the direction to get a big attack, and that's what gives it the right feel that it needs. But not knowing about the characters is something that's just like, well, I don't know if these moves are meant to fit with the character or not. They fit within the game, but I don't know if they would fit like on a character basis. Like Spade, for example, he's the character I played the most, and he has lots of like light attacks, but he also has lots of ranged attacks. I'm not exactly sure what he's throwing out. Like could be ninja stars for all I know. They're cards.
He's actually throwing cards. Yeah.
Okay.
What is his? Is his shield
idea.
Cards too?
I'm not. I think his shield's cards as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like they've done a pretty good job of making kind of, a fighting game character out of all of these obscure moves, I suppose. Like every move has a reason to exist, and it all fits within this kit and stuff like that.
Yeah, the characters are different enough, I think. I mean, there's certainly 4 distinctive play styles, but I kind of found 1 or 2 moves for each character that I could just kind of spam, just because of the way that the priority works, which is something we can talk about in more detail.
Yes.
I agree. I like the variety, because like with Spade you have the cards, and he does have some ranged attacks and some close attacks, and then Rin, she was one of my favorites as well. Spade was actually my second favorite, but Rin was my first favorite, and she had the move where she teleported, and you can kind of control the teleport while you're playing, and I thought that was really cool. And I think the sword that what's his Titus, he has a sword, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good addition. I think he's the only one that really has a sword at the moment, and so I mean they got quite a bit of variety in there. But like Chad said, you can pretty much just spam one of the buttons, and it works out pretty well.
Did you guys also take a look to their animations, how they move or how they perform the moves?
Yeah, the animations are one of the weak points of the game. It's just like going back to Spade, because that's who I played the most. It's just like his close range kind of jab attacks, stuff like that. You could barely tell they were happening. But and something that doesn't help the animation specifically, it's just the game has a lot of lack of impact. Like kind of in Smash Brothers, I'm not sure how they do it, but you can almost feel when you're getting hit, like every time, or when anybody's getting hit. There's a lot of noticeable impact, both on the screen, like visually, and like with sound and everything. Well, in this game, you could sometimes you'll be sitting there like, wait, where did I gain this extra 100 damage from? And
Right.
The animations feed into that problem, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not just a matter of I can see it, but that part of I kind of need to feel that impact as well.
Yeah.
I think in Smash Brothers, the bigger the hit, they just slow the game down for just a split second.
Yeah.
And so it feels like it's just this massive, smack. And that for some reason, that does the trick. The bigger the hit, the longer the game slows down. And it's just for like a few fractions of a second, but it somehow just makes it way more impactful. But I think the physics in this game are the big problem. I mean, the knockback is really, really inconsistent. You kind of fall back to the ground a lot faster than you would in Smash Brothers. It's a lot less floaty, and I just felt like the jumping and the up in the air and back down again just doesn't feel at all like Smash Bros. It's just way too fast. The gravity's way too strong. If you want that feel from the game, I think that's one of the big things they need to tune, are the physics.
It's hard. Yeah, it's really hard to recover. Like when you're getting knocked off the edge of the stage, it's really hard to recover from that because, like Chad said, the gravity's just so quick.
Yeah, particle effects is the other thing I was going to say that Smash Brothers has that this game is lacking in. The particle effects when you get hit by something big and something small in Smash Brothers, like it's still very noticeable, and you can equate the amount of particle effects with the amount of damage you're going to take, and so on and so forth. And I'm not sure if I didn't personally notice if the numbers, the damage numbers, like kind of make they enlarge and then shorten again in Smash Brothers. I don't know if they do that in this as much. And the other big problem in this game, which feeds into the entire feel problem, is I just think the camera is so subpar compared to Smash Brothers. We all played in a single player, so I can see how this camera would be quite okay in multiplayer, but the camera's always centered where the action is. But when you're playing single player and you got knocked off the side of the screen and you can barely see yourself, and you're trying to get back onto the stage, it's I can't even see myself right now. How am I supposed to do this?
I don't know if everybody else had this problem too. When I was making my characters walk, it would almost seem like they were floating instead of actually walking. I don't know if you guys had that issue, and I thought that was a problem.
With Rin especially, I noticed when she was landing, if you jump up onto a platform, she would just be floating in midair for a while before she actually landed. That animation wouldn't finish for some reason. So she'd just be her arms up in the air, and she'd be kind of suspended, levitating above the floor.
So each stage in Indie Assault is actually inspired on a character, and I think each of them also has 3 different versions. But how do you guys experience the stages? Did you find them practical, or maybe easy, or did something bug you during a match?
I had the same, after the first couple games, I had the same mentality I did in normal and Super Smash Brothers, which is if the stage isn't flat, I don't want to know anything about it. So the good thing is that each stage that they did make has a flat version. I played most of the stages. The strangest one to me was I think it was Rin stages. The kind of dragon themed one. It was just kind of there's 3 or 4 variations, and I swear to God they're all exactly the same, just with different dressing or different sizing. It's just, I wasn't sure what the point of that was, but just because of Chad said to do with the gravity and stuff, the ones that were platform based, I was oh God, I can barely survive in this. It's kind of if the stage was flat, I could win every time. If it was platform based, I would just die continuously. But yeah, besides that, I reckon the stage design for the most is pretty good. The stages that have moving elements that can damage you was overall pretty good. It shook it up.
It's like an extra challenge while playing the match.
Yeah, I kind of liked that big cannon that swept back and forth every once in a while and just blasted the hell out of whoever happened to be in front of it. That was kind of a nice touch.
Yeah, that was my favorite stage too, actually. Phillip was saying that he didn't like the different levels in the stages, and I actually like that. I like the flat stages too, but I guess I like the flat stages at different times. Depends on the mood I'm in, I guess. But I really like the Forgotten Palace, where the cannon moves around and it shoots you. It adds another element to it, like you said, Rai.
So I'm personally the kind of player who likes to do a lot of air attacks, and so having lots of verticality is good for me. But I had a lot of issues with characters not landing on platforms and not being able to jump through them from below or drop down from above, and lots of weird issues with that. So that kind of made
but did it depend on a character itself, or was it really a stage thing?
It seemed to depend on the character. I feel like Rin, for whatever reason, her animations and stuff aren't as realized or complete yet. I had a lot of issues with her air attacks too. They just wouldn't hit at all, ever. And she also seemed to be the lowest priority on the attack priority list or stack or whatever, however it works. Usually in a lot of fighting games, each character's attack will have a certain priority over other characters' attacks depending on their strength in the character and all this stuff. But it seemed like it was more character-based than anything else in Indie Assault. So like Rin, it seemed like it was really hard for me to get hits in, especially against Titus. Titus's attacks all seem to have priority over hers. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that's another thing I noticed.
So I didn't mind Rin. I know what you're saying. I was having issues getting her aerial attacks to connect as well. The teleport one, you have to kind of get the teleport when she comes back from teleporting almost like right on top of your opponent, and that causes her to hit the opponent. But it is kind of hard to judge where you're aiming, I guess.
Yeah, playing Spade, it was like a lot of his jump attacks are blinks and stuff, which is probably why I didn't like the platform stages, because when you're blinking everywhere, it's just like, well, oh, there I go. I'm off the stage now. But it's like, but yeah, like, because of that, I never had any trouble like getting through platforms. Like, yeah, I guess because it's a blink, I just appear above the platform. I don't actually have to go through it. So landing on platforms and getting up and through them was like super easy for me.
I think they need to make it a little easier to drop through the platforms once you're on top of them, because it is kind of hard to drop down from them. You almost have to double tap down and then hold down while you're trying to go to drop, and it can almost stop gameplay.
Yeah, something I found like super strange as a gameplay decision was the fact that they chose like I suppose on my controller it's B to jump, opposed to in like Smash Bros or something where you just kind of shoot the stick up and then you jump around. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, like it made I was expecting to be able to like hold down and then press B to jump down, but it doesn't work like that. It's just kind of a disconnection with the controls, I suppose, from like other games of the same genre.
Well, so since we're talking about the stages, we should probably talk about the items. So I think there are only 2 items, right? The leaf and the teleport grenade.
Yeah, they want to add more pickable items. They even want to add like even weapons that you can pick up.
I thought the what's that?
I didn't get any of those. I didn't see any of those when I was playing. Must
have been your game settings or something.
It might have been. I had them on, I thought, but I actually didn't see them, so I don't know if I'll be able to actually help out with this one.
So the leaf just restores some health, and the teleport grenade, you can pick it up, and then usually you just try to throw it and it teleports you, but sometimes you can actually throw it and hit the other person with it and teleport them, and it just teleports them to one of, 3 or 4 different predetermined points on the level. But I actually thought it was a cool idea, and I would like to see more. I would like to see that idea developed a little bit more, because I think it actually has some cool tactical implications. Though, since you already have 2 characters that can teleport, it seems a little silly to have them using the teleport grenade too. So if they could kind of figure out some way to make that grenade equal or make sense for all the characters, that would be interesting.
Well, maybe in combination with that weird stage and then throw the grenade to the opponent.
Yeah.
The one like good use I found for the teleport grenade was a very specific scenario where like I threw the teleport grenade into like, I always played in 4s, so it was into the 3 other people, and then I was able to use like my kind of tornado attack, my down A, and like hit them all at once because we all spawned in the same area, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was the only scenario I found the teleport grenade use.
I like Rai's idea where you could actually potentially teleport people into a dangerous area of the level, or maybe like off the side of the platforms or something, so they'd have to jump back in or something.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. That would make it better.
So we are aware that there are other games out there that fall in the same category, but they all have their own look and feel. We know that Indie Assault is still in the alpha stage, and we're not sure yet which aspects could change in the future, what they will add or remove. But I think we can already take a look to how certain elements come together. Do you guys feel that it all connects together, or should it improve a specific aspect, no matter in which stage it is?
I think we have a problem just because we're not really exactly sure where the characters connect anyway, because we're not exactly sure where these characters are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not sure if we even know how they could make it connect better.
I think like it all connects relatively well. I think if they nail the gameplay a lot better, it'll take attention away from anything to do with the art style as much. With polish, it'll look better. With polish in the gameplay, it'll feel better and it'll play better and it'll just be a lot better.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, if it feels good, if it plays well, I'm willing to overlook a lot of issues with art. And I think that's the important thing with a Smash Brothers style game is it needs to feel good. It needs to have a sense of impact. It needs to have really, really nicely tuned physics. You have to know what's going to happen when you hit a person with a certain attack. You have to know how far back they're going to fly. You have to know, how high you can jump and where you can land. And that I think is a lot of tuning, a lot of polishing.
Right now, it seems kind of random. On the knockback aspect, anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do we know when they intend to release this?
They don't have a date yet.
Yeah, because I was just looking at it, like, this doesn't seem remotely close to being finished. Like, if we're just looking at the build we have with the 4 characters, it looks like they have, like, another 10 planned or something. And in fighting, when you're developing fighting games, like, the characters are the game. So it's like they're only, like, they're, like, less than, like, 30% in, it would look like, at least character-wise. So they're a long way off.
Okay, so with this overall look and feel, what would you say is the most positive right now about Indie Assault? And what would be the most negative about Indie Assault? So
I think the concept is actually really great. And I love that they have actually gotten in touch with other indie developers and worked with them to recreate these characters. I think it's cool that they've actually remodeled characters that might have been originally in 2D, and they've obviously put a lot of work in trying to reach out to other developers and get these characters. I mean, that's what I think makes the indie gaming community so cool, is that people are a lot more open and collaborative, and it's little studios helping other little studios out. So I think just the overall concept of it is really, really promising and really cool. And I think the biggest negative is that this team I don't know how much experience they actually have, but they have a long way to go as far as making it feel really fun and make it play really well.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think the concept is the strongest point, because this concept has been proven many times in the past to work, and the fact that they're adding the indie characters in there is even better in my opinion, because the indie scene it's exploding right now, and it's only going to get bigger. So the fact that they're doing it indie style is really awesome. The thing that I think they need to work on big time is the physics in the game. That has a big problem. That and the gameplay, because it's not quite polished yet.
Yeah. So here at AlphaFeed, we tend to. It seems like we focus on the negative a bit, but I'll be the first to say I actually quite had a lot of fun with this game in the brief time that I played it. After I the first couple games where I was getting used to it, and I found my comfort in the flat stages and a character that I liked. I played it for like a good hour or two. I was like, yeah, I can see this is pretty good. So, the concept is strong for sure. They're on the right track with the gameplay, trying to emulate Smash. Once they get down on the physics and they improve it, there's definitely potential there for the game to be great. And as far as the weakest is concerned, I would say apart from the untuned gameplay, but it's early in alpha, I would say it's the character roster at the moment, where we just don't really none of the characters are attractive to us because we don't know them because we haven't played their games and so on and so forth.
So I have a question for you guys. If you could pick an indie character to include in Indie Assault, which character would it be?
It'd be red. It'd be red. It'd be red from Transistor. That would be awesome. Hitting people with the sword, the big sword.
That would be cool. Well, that would be 2 characters, really, right?
Yeah. Ice climbers.
Well, no, I mean,
I would like to see a character from Don't Starve.
Of course.
That, of course. This is a surprise to no one, Rai.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and I'll do a throwback to our last episode. I don't see why they couldn't ask the Omnicura developer to maybe add their character in there. I think he would do good in this type of universe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you gotta have the samurai.
The samurai with the
character.
4 different weapons. Would be great.
Right, exactly. I think for me, it would be... I like I really like in Super Smash Brothers when they come up with a really crazy character like Mr. Game & Watch that just is out of left field with weird moves and crazy stuff. So I think it'd be fun if they took one of the little characters from FTL, like one of the little mantis guys or something like that, and threw him in here and just gave him a bunch of crazy stuff where the spaceships came in and strafed the level, or I don't know, like he could teleport around. I don't know, like you could come up with something really fun, I think.
I guess the final question is, does this game look promising?
I think it totally does. Like we said before, the concept is there, and the fact that they're using the indie characters is great. So I think it is very promising.
Yeah, I think that I like I just said, like I had a lot of fun with it. The fact that we can even sit here and talk about all the possibilities for all the different indie characters that we would like to see in the game is just a great show of potential for it. It was like, in like a perfect world where they could get these characters, it'd be great. So maybe even after it comes out, like if it's good and it's got critical success, either like a sequel or just through DLC, they could then add in all the characters they want. And then have the respect of the industry, I suppose. But yeah, it definitely has great potential. It just needs to tune up everything to a whole new level.
Yeah, as much as I wanted to like really be hard on this game and point out all of the, I mean, we've talked about a lot of the things that we don't like about it. It's awesome that they actually decided to go forward and make this game, and despite all of the setbacks that they've had, that they're still making it and they're still trying to get characters to add in. And I do feel for them. Like I do wish that they could just get, like, you know, I wish that they could reach out to some of those famous indie guys and get some of their characters just to show up, just to get some buzz around the game. Like if we could get the guy from Braid in here or something like that, you know, like the little main character from Braid, you know, or just something, just like if they could just land one of those characters, that would, I think, really make a lot more people excited about this game. If they could just get one, and then I think they could maybe work with that.
If one comes, the rest will follow as well, because it's a show of good faith.
And they have Sony or PlayStation, because I know this is supposed to be coming out on Steam as well as going out on the Vita and the PS4. But I know they have PS4 and Vita exclusive indie games, as well as they have PC exclusive indie games. So maybe they could do a deal with Sony to do like exclusive content that way too. You know what I mean, to help them boost their fan base there.
Guys, thank you for your great feedback. And for those who are interested in this game, you can check out Indie Assault on Steam. And you can also join or create discussions on their Steam forums. Just leave a feedback or even suggest any indie characters you'll love to see in the game. So, for all of us here at AlphaFeed, this is Rai, signing off. And thank you for watching and listening.